Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, Zansi Daily Update, where we break down the biggest political stories shaping our country and the world. Today's episode dives into a geopolitical storm that could shake South Africa's political landscape to its core, the looming threat of US sanctions against the ANC. So buckle up, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get into it. The United States Congress has just fired a major diplomatic warning shot with the introduction of the USSA Bilateral Relations Review Act. Spearheaded by Congressman Ronnie Jackson, this bill is a prelude to direct sanctions targeting the ANC, citing South Africa's growing alignment with US adversaries like Russia, China, and Iran. If enacted, the bill would trigger a full review of US-South Africa relations within 120 days and potentially lead to targeted sanctions under the Global Magnitsky Act, a law designed to punish individuals involved in corruption and human rights abuses. This isn't just diplomatic pressure. This is the same legal mechanism used against authoritarian regimes in Venezuela and Cambodia. And now, the ANC is being mentioned in that same breath. What's fueling this unprecedented move? First, Russia. The ANC has come under fire for supporting joint naval drills with Russia during the Ukraine war and for accepting donations from Russian oligarchs. This has raised alarms in Washington about Pretoria's loyalty. Then there's China. South Africa's involvement in the Belt and Road Initiative and pressure on Taiwan to relocate its unofficial embassy have reinforced the belief that the ANC is aligning with Beijing, something the US sees as a threat to its global influence. There's also the Hamas controversy. After the October 2023 attacks on Israel, ANC officials made statements seen as sympathetic to Hamas, a group designated by the US as a terrorist organization. This was a red flag for American lawmakers across the aisle. Domestically, the bill criticizes rampant corruption, poor governance, and public service collapse under ANC leadership. In short, it paints the ANC as both a domestic failure and a foreign policy liability. But here's what's more revealing: this push didn't originate in Congress alone. Afrikaner groups like AfriForum and Solidarity held direct meetings with US officials last year. They submitted a memorandum accusing the ANC of racial discrimination, hate speech tolerance, and targeting Afrikaner land through the expropriation bill. They argued that Afrikaans education is being suppressed under new legislation. These meetings were followed by White House announcements suspending certain aid to South Africa and extending refugee protections to Afrikaners, a clear echo of the concerns raised by these groups. Even the DA got involved, visiting Washington to lobby for the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA. While they didn't openly support sanctions, their focus on saving trade ties aligned with broader opposition efforts to isolate the ANC diplomatically. DA's Helen Zille revealed a key insight, saying the ANC was obsessed with retaining control of international relations during new negotiations, hinting that the party knows just how vulnerable it is on the global stage. Now here's where things take a serious turn. As US lawmakers consider sanctions, ANC officials may already be under surveillance. While companies like Google, Meta, and Apple aren't intelligence agencies, they are bound by US surveillance laws. This means ANC members using Gmail, WhatsApp, Facebook, or iMessage could unknowingly be creating a digital paper trail that's accessible to US authorities. Through legal requests, US agencies can demand access to emails, messages, geolocation data, even deleted files. Google and Meta have historically complied with over 80% of such requests. It's not just about content. Metadata, like who you message, when, and from where, can be used to map political networks. If ANC leaders are communicating with Russian or Chinese diplomats, US analysts could detect patterns, just like they did in Libya before NATO's intervention. Let's not forget, Saddam Hussein was found hiding in a hole after years of surveillance. Gaddafi's regime was brought down after NATO-backed rebels tracked him through similar digital footprints. The playbook is there. This time, the target might be individual ANC leaders, not the South African state. Sanctions could mean frozen assets, cancel visas, and cut off access to international banking. But the impact on the ANC's global reputation could be devastating. Some believe this could be the beginning of the end for the ANC's political dominance. The US once used sanctions to help dismantle apartheid. Now, those same tools might be used to pressure the very party that brought about South Africa's liberation. That's the historical irony. Mandela once praised US sanctions for isolating the apartheid regime. Now the ANC faces isolation if it continues down a path of geopolitical misalignment and internal decay. The road ahead is clear. Either the ANC mends ties with the West or continues to drift into the arms of nations that can't offer the same economic or diplomatic support, countries like Russia, weighed down by war and sanctions, or China, facing economic slowdown and strategic pushback from the US. In this complex chessboard of international politics, South Africa can't afford to be a pawn. That's all for today's deep dive. If you found this breakdown insightful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments, are US sanctions a justified response, or a dangerous interference in our domestic affairs? See you next time.